Coming up on the November 11th edition of Sports Extra. After nearly a month at UNC Hospitals, she's out. We take you inside Sylvia Hatchell's emotional homecoming and tell you why lots of people will be wearing orange in Carmichael tonight.
And speaking of homecomings, looks like the football team is on a roll. We'll show you how the Tar Heels got a win for Bryn.
He's one of the biggest players on the court, but he's certainly not the most experienced. We look at why Joel James playing is more than a case of beginner's luck.
All that and more, Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
It was a week of triumphs, victories, and some heartbreaks for the Tar Heels. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Delia D'Ambra.
And I'm Georgia Walker. Milestones reached, tournament runs dashed, and college careers ended. It was an emotional week for UNC athletics. And not surprisingly, it was an emotional game Saturday as the Heels played for the first time after finding out that their teammate, their leader, their quarterback, senior Bryn would no longer play in a UNC uniform. After practice last week, Renner had a hard time keeping composure when talking about the subject.
All my brothers in the locker room just mean a lot to me. I'm sorry for getting emotional, but this team means a lot to me. I gave it all I have for 5 years.
Renner had done a lot for this team. Don't forget, he came back into the game in the fourth quarter against NC State and played with a torn labrum and fractured shoulder. However, life goes on, and so does football. The team had one motto against UVA: win for Bryn. The guys played their hearts out, capitalizing quickly with this touchdown pass from starter Marquise Williams to wide receiver Quinshad Davis. The Heels didn't look back, taking a 28-0 lead, including this 85-yard punt return from freshman wide receiver Ryan Switzer. Carolina finished with a final score of 45-19, the Heels' largest margin of victory this year.
A big part of that win was current starting quarterback, redshirt sophomore Marquise Williams. In fact, if Williams can lead the Tar Heels to 2 wins in their last 3 games, they might just have a chance to go bowling this winter. In honor of Renner, Williams wore his number 2 jersey for the game, and he wore it pretty well. He managed the game from a passing standpoint. He was 15 for 28 with 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Where Williams really shined, though, was in the running and receiving game. He rushed for 46 yards and a touchdown and caught a 25-yard touchdown pass from Quinshad Davis. There were still some bad decisions and sloppy passes, but with more time under center for Williams, Carolina seems to be in good hands.
And he might not be as high profile as Bryn or Marquise, but this football player is making his mark on the field. And we don't just mean the turf at Kenan Stadium. Alexis Simmons has the story.
Senior Mark McNeil is used to spending more time on the field than many of his teammates, just not the same field. That's because he's a 2-sport athlete in football and lacrosse.
Sometimes it's a lot, but I look at it like, how many people get to do something they love every day? So for me, it's a joy. I really enjoy doing it.
McNeil has played football and lacrosse since he was 6 years old and doesn't mind the hard work it takes to excel in 2 sports.
In sports, it's kind of like you against someone else, and sometimes it's just your competitive nature. You just have to take over, and working on my competitiveness. I just try hard and try to outwork my opponent whenever I'm doing it, if it's just in the weight room or running sprints or if they're lined up across from me.
In the fall, McNeil takes the field with the football team and starts lacrosse practice after winter break. Though the 2 sports are in different seasons, McNeil says one thing remains the same.
When dealing with lacrosse and football, they're like a family atmosphere, and being 5 hours away from home, I really needed that, that family aspect, and I feel like this university provided it for me.
If McNeil could perform for the university in another way, he says cheerleading would be his next pick.
Just looks fun. It looks like a good time, out there cheering on your team. Why not?
Meanwhile, we'll cheer for him during the remainder of the football season and when McNeil and the rest of the lacrosse team take the fields in hope of another ACC championship. Reporting in Chapel Hill, I'm Alexis Simmons.
McNeil is a midfielder for the lacrosse team and a wide receiver for Tar Heel football.
Roy's boys officially started the basketball season Friday, and their performance is giving Tar Heel fans hope for a successful season. The Tar Heels came out of the tunnel ready to impress. The high energy started with J.P. Tokoto in a starting spot. Look at this slice shot when Tokoto gets the basket and the foul. He reached a career high of 13 points. James Michael McAdoo was the leading scorer, racking up 21 points and 9 rebounds. The real story was the Heels' first half performance. They made 23 of their 31 shots, giving them a 74.2% shooting. Threes by Marcus Page, jump shots galore, and it was the highest percentage for any half in 11 seasons under Coach Roy Williams. The second half was a little sloppier for the Heels with 11 turnovers. Williams wants his guys to play like they did in the first half for the rest of the season.
I think the kids were invested. I mean, they really were. They were into it. I asked them, I said, what did you do in the first half? And they said, we had great effort and we had great concentration. And I think that's what we did have. And that's the first 2 steps that you have to take to have good performances.
And Roy needs good performances from his bigs. It's hard to miss Joel James when he takes the court. At 6 feet, 10 inches, he's one of the 2 tallest players on the roster.
But he isn't the most experienced. Ryan O'Rourke tells us how this big man measures up to the rest of the team.
Growing up as one of 11 children in a single-parent household, Joel James took it upon himself to be the dad in the house. But once he began playing basketball, he turned to his high school coach for the paternal guidance he never had.
My high school coach really was like the driving force behind me playing, and the reason why I stuck with it. I looked at Coach Ross somewhat as like a father figure. I spent so much time with him because I just wanted to learn as much about basketball as I could.
James didn't start playing basketball competitively until he was 16 years old and felt his lack of experience was evident in his freshman year at UNC.
It's like a roller coaster. I had a lot of highs, had a lot of lows.
Even though James is hundreds of miles away from home, he says his brothers on the court have helped with his transition to college.
It's a great relationship. We all see each other as brothers. They play with a lot of passion and fire every day, practice with a lot of passion and fire. But when it's game time, it gets pretty serious. We all know what we have to do.
James said he spent countless hours in the gym this summer in order to become a more dominant presence in the post. But although improving his own game is a priority, he says hanging another championship banner is the ultimate goal.
There's enough space. I was thinking about the other day, you just got to slide that one over just a little bit, or you can offset something up there, but there's enough space to add another one up there.
James knows such a feat won't come easy.
Anything is possible if you play as a team, play as one unit. Obviously, those guys believed in each other like no one else did.
And believing in his teammates is something James has done from the start. In Chapel Hill, I'm Ryan O'Rourke.
You can believe in this group. There's no other way to put it. The women's basketball team crushed the Air Force Academy in the first game of the season Friday at Carmichael Arena. The Tar Heels flew away with the lead against the Falcons early in the game, scoring 41 points to the Air Force's 9 in the first half. Carolina continued to widen the gap in the second half, racking up an additional 46 points, never giving the Falcons a chance to breathe, and ending the game with 87-26. Despite the great performance, assistant head coach Andrew Calder wants fans to know that scoring wasn't the only thing the team did well.
It contributed several ways besides just points also. Among those 13 rebounds, the steals we got, Diamond's 4 steals, those are creating scoring opportunities for us. So it's not just about the points, because the upperclassmen did a lot of great things also.
Even though the team just had its season opener Friday night, the players aren't getting any time off. Madison Way joins us live in the studio to tell us, Madison, how are the Heels prepping?
Well, I'll tell you this, Carmichael might be calm now, but it's going to be packed later tonight. The Tar Heels face number 4 Tennessee at 9 p.m., but I think the Heels have a pretty good chance. They have 8 guards and 4 forwards, but most of those players are over 6 feet. Coach Calder says the team's trying to play perimeter post style of play, which means they're going to perform well in the paint as well as beyond the perimeter. However, so far they haven't been playing that well beyond the 3. They shot 2 for 16 against Air Force on Friday, and if they keep that up, it could be the team's downfall. But I will also tell you this, the Volunteers won't be the only people wearing orange on the court. The women's basketball coaches for UNC have been donning orange ribbons in support of head coach Sylvia Hatchell, who is battling leukemia. Hatchell won't be at the game tonight, but she will be at home taking in the Tar Heels. We had a chance to talk to the Hall of Fame coach when she was released from the hospital this Thursday.
Hey guys, go Heels. I've learned a lot, trust me. You learn when you go through something like this, you learn what's important to you. and how things are so important. Like, you don't take anything for granted. You know, of course, I've never taken for granted coaching and the players and the opportunities that I have here, but I treasure them even more now. The outpouring of love and friendship and all has just been absolutely unbelievable. And we still, you know, I'm not out of the woods yet with everything. And so we got to continue. The biggest thing is I just need people praying for me, you know, that we finalize things as far as getting rid of it. My numbers are really good right now, but we still got some things that we have to do and go through, and we still got a few tests that we were waiting on to come back, you know, and all that stuff. But so far, things couldn't be any better. It'll be a few weeks and all, but I'll be back eventually, full force. I mean, I'm going to start back gradually. You know, we're going to go to the office and do things and all that. But as far as just, you know, doing everything, it'll be a few weeks before I can do all that. But I'm working towards that, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to go see my golden retriever, Maddie.
Hey, Maddie. Look at my hand. Look at my hand. Look at my hand.
The doctors, they can't believe how well I've done and how I've taken the treatments, and I've exercised every day. Only one day did I not exercise with a trainer. And but I feel really good. My numbers are great right now. In fact, they were a whole lot better than when I came in here, and I felt good when I came in.
Hatchell also visited the team Thursday. She held a team bonding exercise in which she told the team that it's easy to break when you're alone. It's hard to break when you stick together. Back to you, Delia.
Thanks, Madison. We wish Coach Hatchell the best in her recovery. It's one thing to play for a defending national champion.
How about playing for two? We introduce you to a UNC athlete who's displaying some two-sport dominance next on Sports Extra.
Connect with us online by liking the Sports Extra Facebook page and following us on Twitter @SportsExtra_UNC.
Hey, Sarah.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute. How do you know him?
Come on, Donovan, do it like I taught you. Love the new tattoo, Sarah. Let's go!
Dude, what? Dude, that's Sarah. The girl in the pink shirt. That's the girl I was telling you about.
Oh, that's Sarah?
Theater 2 on your left. Hey, Sarah. What color underwear today?
Hey, Sarah. So when are you going to post something new?
Anything you post online, anyone can see. Family, friends.
See you later, Sarah.
Even not so friendly people. Think before you post.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
G-morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did? Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
On Friday night, the women's soccer team fell to FSU in the ACC semifinals. The Seminoles are the first team to ever defeat UNC 4 times in a row.
And the loss wasn't very pretty. Lead soccer reporter Janelle Davis joins us now. Janelle, what does the loss mean for the Heels?
Well, there's 3 key things we should take away from Friday's game. First, senior Crystal Dunn didn't play. She hurt her hamstring at practice on Tuesday. The second thing is that UNC scored 3 goals, but ultimately lost the game 2-1 in overtime. Yes, you heard that right. Meg Morris scored the first goal for UNC in the first 2 minutes of the second half. Then things went south. A miscalculated header by the UNC defense sent the ball into Carolina's net for the game's first own goal. With only 3 minutes left in regulation, this equalizer pushed the game in overtime. With goal-and-goal rules, both teams amped up the intensity. FSU beat UNC's defensive line, and the Tar Heels sprinted back in an attempt to recover. The ball deflected off 2 Tar Heel players and into the net, ending the game 2-1. Coach Anson Dorrance's main frustration was the team's lack of composure.
I don't think if you look down our roster, we could, list the word composure next to too many of them. I think a lot of our players play like a cat on a hot tin roof.
This loss ended UNC's run in the ACC tournament, and FSU went on to take the title, which leads me to my last point. Does the ACC tournament matter? Last season, the team lost in the first game of the ACC tournament, but ultimately, the Heels went on to win the NCAA championships. When I spoke with Dorrance, he said the early season knockout gave the team more time to prepare for the NCAAs. Well, I know I don't have 22 national championships to my name, but I think the ACC tournament matters. It's great practice. Both the ACC and NCAA tournaments are single elimination, and winning a conference title is great momentum for the team. But most importantly, it affects the team's seed in the tournament. That means home field advantage and lower-ranked opponents.
Good insight, Janelle. Now, despite the tough loss to the women's soccer team, they still managed to earn a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament, and they face Liberty this Friday. Carolina is the only team who has been invited to every tournament since its inception in 1982.
Being recruited to UNC is enough cause for celebration, but what about playing for 2 teams, especially 2 teams that have just won national championships? Madison Way introduces a player who's pulling that off.
Women's soccer and lacrosse. They're UNC's 2 defending national championship teams, and this freshman is competing for both of them. Her name's Maggie Bill, and according to Inside Lacrosse, she's the #2 women's lacrosse player in the nation. But she wants to be #1, in the NCAA, that is.
And just looking at pictures and videos of both teams winning the championship really kind of gives me the chills. I want to be a part of that.
And it's a video that first got UNC's lacrosse coaches talking about Bill, an injured midfielder out of Long Island. Lacrosse head coach Jenny Levy said Bill was out with a knee injury when she first came across a recruiting video Bill's brother had made. The film made quite the impression.
She was an absolute beast on the field. She closed space, her speed, her agility, her presence. You couldn't miss her. They didn't need to circle her on the video. It was some game footage, and most of the time those game footage are huge snoozers. They're hard to watch, and you're like, oh. But Maggie was amazing. And to this day, it's the most amazing video that I've ever watched.
Bill was considering other schools like lacrosse powerhouse Northwestern, but the chance to play for 2 storied programs was too tempting.
Bill isn't the first Carolina athlete to play both women's lacrosse and women's soccer. She is, however, the first to come into the programs after both won national championships.
So how busy is this 2-sport Tar Heel?
I am busy a lot, but I definitely find time to relax a little bit and just kind of wind down from my crazy schedule.
That crazy schedule includes practice, games on Thursdays and Sundays, and working on stick skills during her days off. It sounds like a lot, but Bill, who played 3 sports in high school, says she's managing.
I've been doing this my whole life. It's definitely different here with the intensity, but just being used to having a crazy schedule in high school, and even before that, I'm just kind of used to it.
One thing she'll have to get used to if she plans to play with these Tar Heels for the next 4 years, competing for national titles. In Chapel Hill, I'm Madison Way.
Bill will rejoin the women's lacrosse team in January. She hopes to have a soccer national championship by then.
The men's soccer team is still in shock after an overtime loss to NC State on Friday night. It was the team's 4th loss at home this season. That's the most home losses since 2007. It was senior night in Chapel Hill, and for 3 UNC seniors, a bitter end to their final regular season game in Carolina blue. The Heels were unable to find the back of the net in regulation despite firing 14 shots. Just 2 minutes into the extra period, Tar Heel goalkeeper Brendan Moore hesitated while coming off his line to stop the Wolfpack rush, allowing NC State to flick the ball over his head and into the net for the game winner. Because of this loss, Tuesday's ACC tournament opener will be at Clemson. As Shakespeare once said, though she be but little, she is fierce.
And he might have been talking about this Tar Heel volleyball player. We'll introduce you to a small player making a big impact.
Here's to
to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's gonna happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
High school athletes across the country are waiting to see how the NCAA is planning to change eligibility requirements. There was a seminar focused on those changes in Cary on Sunday. Parents and student athletes attended the sessions to learn more about the rising academic standards, which take effect in 2016. Events organizers say it's important for both parents and students to understand these changes, as well as other rules that are already in place.
This has a big impact on student athletes because a lot of times parents and students and coaches are definitely confused with the NCAA requirements, their high school requirements, as well as college admission requirements.
Cary Coaching Precision hosted the seminar, which also focused on navigating the use of social media and understanding the recruiting process.
Here at UNC, the University of National Champions, we have another name to add to that list. Jamie Loeb is the 2013 USTA National Indoor Collegiate Champion, her second straight win at a major college tournament. Loeb didn't lose a set in the entire tournament, leading up to her straight set victory against UCLA's Robin Anderson, 6-3, 6-2. The win brings her career record at Carolina to 19-1, and she's only a freshman. In a heartbreaking loss in the final of the ACC field hockey tournament, the Heels fell to Maryland. The first half was scoreless, but the Terrapins scored twice in 5 minutes to give them the lead. After pulling their goalie and adding an extra field player, the Heels were still unable to find the back of the goal. UNC's Emily Wold, Samantha Travers, and Jane Grove made the All-ACC tournament team. Now 16-5, the Heels wait for the announcement of the NCAA tournament bracket.
The volleyball team looked to bounce back against an ACC opponent this weekend after 2 tough losses on the road last week. North Carolina beat Clemson in 4 sets Friday, bringing the 19th-ranked Tar Heels to 21-3 on the year. Jovana Bielica led the way for the Heels offense with 14 kills, while junior Eche Tuna took over on defense with 28 of the team's 85 digs. Sophomore Paige Neuenfeld finished with 10 kills and 3 service aces and said it was important for the team to get in the right state of mind for the final month of the season.
We think a lot, we talk a lot, and we just need to let our actions speak. So I think it's more just stop talking and do work.
And work is just what the Tar Heels did as they faced off against Georgia Tech Sunday. Carolina stung the Yellow Jackets for 3 consecutive sets, allowing just 15 points in the first 2 sets and 20 in the third. Outside hitter Leah Andrew performed well with 10 digs and 11 kills, while Jovana Bielica shone, leading the team with 13 kills and helping the Heels secure their 22nd victory of the season. Much of the volleyball team's success this season is attributed to the big hitters up front.
But the team has also gotten contributions from its deep bench, including one Tar Heel who does little things in a big way. Evan Badler reports.
Standing at 5'5" on a team with 10 6-footers, sophomore Heather Gearhart doesn't exactly soar through the air for kills. She usually flies under the radar as a defensive specialist in the back row.
I'm known as kind of a quiet player, but I like to think that when I do talk, then I make points that need to be said. Defense and passing is really what I'm there for, so I have to be really good at two things.
But Gearhart can also rack up points. She's 6th on the team in service aces with 12. As the only Tar Heel with at least 35 serves to record more aces than errors, Gearhart's consistency is a big reason head coach Joe Segula feels good when the ball's in her hands.
If it scores 22-22 or the score is 5-5, it doesn't matter. She's going to go out and give you the same level serve no matter what. We ask her to do a lot in clutch situations and serving. In tight ones, she just goes back there and boom, it's kind of like ice. She just gets it done.
Gearhart is content with her role on the team and expects to continue doing the little things to keep the wins coming. But every so often, she does think about slamming down a kill.
Sometimes I ask the coaches what they would do if we ran out of subs and I had to get stuck front row, how much they would freak out. But I'll just leave that up to the hitters.
As the Tar Heels finish out their regular season, Gearhart will do her best to just keep doing the little things. Reporting from Chapel Hill, I'm Evan Badler.
You can catch Gearhart and the Heels this weekend when they host Virginia and Virginia Tech. We'll tell you why the lacrosse team SLO had to go next on Sports Extra.
Don't forget to tune into our sister shows, Carolina Week at 5 p.m. every Wednesday on Time Warner 24 or Campus Channel 34, and Carolina Connection at 8:30 every Saturday morning on WCHL 97.9 FM.
I see it!
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Last spring, the baseball team took it all off.
And now the men's lacrosse team is doing the same. Madison Wade tells us how some Tar Heels are clipping away at cancer.
Members of the UNC men's lacrosse team said so long to their locks, and for some, like freshman Tate Jizokos, getting a buzz cut was easier said than done. They aren't shaving just for style. It's all to benefit the Versus Cancer Foundation, a campaign started by a UNC baseball player who doctors diagnosed with brain cancer during his freshman year.
My teammates and I on the baseball team were immediately thrown into the world of childhood cancer. We wanted to do something to give back, and we thought, why not shave our heads? It sounded corny, looked stupid, but it worked.
UNC baseball players shave their heads each spring, but this time, the Clippers were dedicated to a cause closer to home. Women's basketball head coach Sylvia Hatchell.
We just felt it was the right thing to do, and honoring her and saying, look, I'm even going to shave my head for her, and in hopes that, we can continue to raise more money for her and for kids as well.
Even though he had to part ways with his hair, in the end, Jizoko said it was worth it.
I love the experience, minus maybe the repercussions of shaving my head, but it was all a great thing.
We're sure Coach Hatchell appreciates it. In Chapel Hill, I'm Madison Way.
The team has raised more than $23,000 so far, and all that money goes to the UNC Lineberger Comprehensive Cancer Center.
Well, that does it for this edition of Sports Extra. Thanks for watching.
Have a great night.